What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Black Men Unfiltered Network. Get your popcorn ready. Ladies, get your glass of wine together right now. Sip it, because we're about to take you on an emotional journey that you've never been on in your life. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be mad, you're going to be happy, you're going to agree, you're going to disagree, and that's what Black Men Unfiltered is about. We want all of you to have a voice, and this is the place where voices are heard. So thank you guys, because we're going to have the conversations that nobody else wants to have, and we're going to come to a medium, we're going to come to solutions, or we're going to agree to disagree, but you're in the right place to do it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I want to introduce you guys to all the shows that's on the network coming up on this next slide. Peace!
I don't mean to put it on your nose, but it's clear how my baby's running this the block, cause you fear what you do to you if you get dirty hands and veneer. What you do, what she is, little boy, I tell you this: if baby wants sit, she can sit. If baby says lit, it's lit. Got your bank account and that cute. If she said it loud, it's the truth. If baby wanna ride, she can ride. If baby needs some time, she got time. Got your bank account and that cute. Make it count, how about you? She would put you in the bag, wouldn't even need a planet. If she wanted, she a magnet. They should let her name a planet. Everything she drop like Corona, viral, make the world start over like I own her. She ain't about to set, but they really wanna throne her. Listen, she like bass, she like Hover. Self-employed, moving paper better than some Billy boy. Made a choice from the regular, she bring a milli home. Click my phone, get my ass up, get a dinner going. Watch she out there, making sure that you all know. Baby wants sit, she can sit. Baby says lit, it's lit. Got your black account and that cute. If she said it loud, it's the truth. If baby wanna ride, she can ride. Baby needs some time, she got time. Got your bank account and that cute. She can make it count, how about you? She be always making money, if it's raining, if it's sunny. She make time to call me honey every day. Drop a couple bands on the cook, they need pay. Then a couple more on the tip, baby saves. Daddy should ski every day, imagine holiday. If I get the 50 cents, she get me holidays. Signing with the fly, if you meet her, know it's true. So if she ever asks you, you know that baby wants sit, she can sit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Unapologetic with your host, me, Mandrell. All right. First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming out and showing me so much support, the amount of support that you have done week after week. I appreciate that a lot. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it, but it's a tremendous amount. I didn't think people would really want to tune in and see what I had to say. That was my thing. I didn't know people were that interested, but all the same, thank you, and is very much so appreciated. First of all, I want to go directly to the comment section and point you guys out who come in to support me. Don GQ, what's up, man? What's up, brother? You haven't been on the panel in a long time, man. Your presence is missed. Okay, just letting you know. Stephen Daly, as usual, my brother here every week, along with Von Bryant, one of the best moderators in the business. Tommy B, my dog. Get the likes up. That's right. Get the likes up. Candid Ann, listening at work. Thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, I hope I can keep you entertained and keep you distracted, because work can be something else. Princess K, thanks for coming. The Harmony Pill, always a pleasure. Okay, always a pleasure to have you here. And okay, that's who we got here so far. Shawty Doo-Wop, looking at Black Man Unfiltered. Of course, he's here. All right. This week, I wanted to cover something that you don't hear people covering. You don't hear people going in depth with. You don't hear anyone even try to dissect it or let us know, us as in us, our people, know where this came from, what it means, what it did to us in the past. Not only that, what it's still doing to us. Okay. And this tonight is going to be a little different. I really, really, really want you guys to come up on the panel and tell me how this has affected you. 1. 2, because it has. Whether you want to admit it or not, what we're going to discuss tonight, it has affected you in your life in some shape, form, or fashion or another. Bravo with Sheila. Thank you. Thank you for coming. The Miss Creative. Thank you for coming. Thanks for showing up. Always a pleasure to have you here as well. But yes, people, you don't have to be on cam if you don't want to be. And I know that these days it's dangerous to do that with what trolls are doing with other channels. Hopefully you don't do that to us. This is someone else's. This is Black Man Unfiltered's platform. He doesn't deserve that kind of behavior. So please, people, just be adults and don't troll. But also, the Blooming Ebony, thank you for coming. Big Bad Bull, my brother, what's going on? Thank you. Anyway, tonight's topic will be the making of a slave. And we're going to be talking about the Willie Lynch letter. Okay? No one talks about it. No one goes over it. And I myself attended university at an HBCU. And my co-host tonight is also a person who attended an HBCU. And she has studied this back then. But, that was a while for her now. But, Also, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host, my sister, again, Shamaria Harris.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, I'm all right. I'm trying not to fumble over my own words. This is all coming off the cuff. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all coming off the cuff. I mean, I told you, we don't rehearse anything. We don't script anything. We just kind of, do what you do. It is what it is. Now, the Willie Lynch letter, you've heard of this, yeah?
Of course.
Of course. We grew up in Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama.
Of course.
So, as Black people, minorities, we have heard of the Willie Lynch letter.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And wasn't until years later till we actually found out what that was. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a phrase people say, he uppity, he a sellout. He got that Willie Lynch shit.
Right.
That's how people would describe it. And then you sitting there as a kid and you're like, Willie Lynch, what?
Right. Yeah.
Is that a curse word? You know what I'm saying? And then you read about what it was, it may as well have been.
Right. I wrote a paper about that in undergrad. I went to Alabama State University. A shout out to Asian waters. Okay. Don't hate. Okay. Don't hate. Anyway, and just pretty much outlining what it was about. And some people, I've read some articles saying that it was like really a hoax, but that the actual letter itself was a hoax, but then it was actual speech that he gave. And long story short, the net of it was basically he was pretty much telling all the other slave owners, like, how to maintain control over your slaves and stop killing them, or
lynching them.
Stop lynching.
Yeah, because before he gave that speech, they were just if a slave gave them a problem, they just lynch him.
Right. Yeah.
Bitches lynch him and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he comes up. They tap him all the way from British Columbia. Oh, I got something in my notes right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, audience, here we go. The reputed author William Lynch identifies himself as a master of a modest plantation in British West Indies who has been summoned to the Virginia colony by local slave owners in 1712 to advise them on the problems they have been having in managing their slaves.
Mm-hmm.
He briefly notes that their current violent method of hanging unruly slaves, lynching, if you will,
Right. Yeah.
through the term, though the term, even in the letter, the term lynching is not used.
Right. Yeah.
He's referred to it as hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he never used the word lynching, but he used hanging, or killing.
Right.
Let's see. He was saying that the method they're using of hanging or lynching the slaves is inefficient and counterproductive.
Yeah.
Instead, he suggests that they adopt his method, which consists of exploiting differences such as age and skin color, in order to pit slaves against each other.
Right.
This method he assures his hosts will control the slaves for at least 300 years, if not the next 1,000.
Right.
And I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to read an excerpt from the letter in a little bit, But to you, that's pretty much what you recall when you did your research on it.
Yeah, and he also broke down methods of controlling your slaves, because one of the biggest fears that the slave owners had was that the slaves would come together and they would actually come and overthrow them, and
unite and overthrow them.
And because the slaves outnumbered the slave owners.
Yeah, big time.
So yeah, of course they had that fear, but they had to come up with a way to not only keep control, but maintain control, but keep control. And Willie Lynch came up with this whole theory of methods of course, put the light-skinned slaves in the house and keep the dark-skinned slaves in the field. Treat the light-skinned slaves better than the dark-skinned slaves. What else? Like, they use, of course, religion as a way of controlling slaves. Obey your masters. They also used, when a slave got was caught doing something wrong, so to speak, they would mangle them, cut off their arm, the leg, or whatever. So it was just different ways of. The biggest thing is they knew that if they were able to capture you mentally, like keep a mental hold on you, like they had you, and they still have us today.
They do, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And in ways
a friend of mine is doing a documentary on this right now. It's about the Lizafield plantation. It's in Georgia, and long story short, he grew up in a boys' home, and it turns out the boys' home that he grew up in was actually it was once a slave plantation. And when he came across this information, he went to graduate school, so it was a part of his graduate project. And so he started looking deeper into it and doing more research. He was able to reach out to some of the relatives of like the original slave owner, and a lot of them, I've seen the footage because I edit, and so he was seeking me out to help him edit the project together. But a lot of them felt bad, I guess you can say, quote unquote, white guilt for their relatives or their lineage being tied to slavery. Some of the relatives, like, they actually pulled out documents that the original slave owner had. Like, they had a document, a book that actually kept a record of how many slaves they had, what their names were, their ages, what slaves had children. What else? Like, and also the original slave owner had a diary. I remember one of the relatives being, and he was talking about this on camera. He opened up some of the and read some of the diary, the journal entries, and he was talking about how, you know, they would use religion as a way to control the slaves. All of that is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Most black people are Christians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they admit that fact? I mean, here's the thing:
Okay,
they believe in the Christian God wholeheartedly, God and Jesus and the baby Jesus too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know for a fact that
Mm-hmm.
Christianity is used as a tool of control,
Yeah.
and to keep us docile, and to
Uh-huh.
give us hope that this deity will make everything all better in the afterlife. All they got to do is be strong and endure to the end. Right now, God's going to make it all better, though.
Right.
These are people who were born, lived a full life,
Mm-hmm.
and died a slave in a life of torture
Mm-hmm.
and servitude. And they died still believing in this deity,
Right.
God and Jesus and the baby. Yes, Vaughn. You're right. The comment. Exactly, because I'm correct.
Well,
So yeah,
let me
they
say
were
this:
born. These are
religion
people who
in
were born.
itself is
The whole thing. So here's my question.
Okay.
Where the hell was God this whole time? These people lived a whole full life of nothing but torture and torment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was he doing? Taking a Kool-Aid break?
No.
He
Well,
was sleep. He was asleep during that time. Huh?
first and foremost, hope is very powerful,
but no one thought. It never crossed anybody's mind that maybe this is BS.
No, but listen. It's the
a slave owner gave me this ideology. I'm supposed to trust him. Oh, the trust part. We're gonna get to that because that's actually in the letter.
Right. Well,
because to trust the slave master.
Right.
That's one of the ingredients.
Listen. Can you listen? Can I talk? Can I talk? Can you listen?
You're a New Yorker.
But listen, so hope was very powerful. And if anything, that's what got them through day to day. The hope that one day this will end, the hope that the next generation won't have to live this, the hope that one day I don't have to keep living under these circumstances, right? The only thing that really kept them in the game or gave them that hope was religion. So that's why a lot of, that was really all they had to hold on to. And that's why they came up with the what you call the Negro spirituals. Because it gave them hope.
Yeah,
and that's really what religion is. It's a pretty much a system that keeps you, that shows you how to live your life in a certain way, and also gives you encouragement and how to live your life in a righteous way, so to speak. And it also gives you hope.
Here's the thing. B9. Now, here's the thing. Now, let me tell you about B9 if you don't know about him. B9, this dude's like 6'9". Big old basketball afro, right? Today, I hope he pulls up on the panel so you can meet him. B9, this is my sister, my actual real blood sister. Yes.
Right.
B9 is one of the wisest men I ever met. Seriously. Now, B9 says, so you think they held on to that family history out of shame? Really? No, it's not out of shame. B9, it's out of habit, is my point.
Yeah.
It became habit. Like, if you're forced in that environment for hundreds of years, and these these practices become tradition now, the religion, it became, at first it was a practice.
Right.
Okay, it was because the slave owners in the beginning made them study this religion as a system of control, and then the slave owners would point out certain parts of the pick and choose certain points out of the Bible,
right? Yeah,
to make the slaves think that God wants this to happen,
right? Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And they hold out the Bible. See, God wants this to happen.
Yeah.
See, this is your natural state. This is just your lot in life,
right?
Okay,
yeah.
So since God wants it to happen, you need to be a good slave and obey your masters because God says so. Right. So now, B9, what I'm saying is those practices became tradition. Christian religion in the black community now is tradition now. Right. That's what Christian religion is.
And that's why I feel like the biggest crock of bull is, we suffer the hardest, which means we are God's favorite. Tell me or show me where anybody who's had a favorite anything has made it suffer. When you talk about
Hey,
favorite
watch out
student
now.
or favorite child or favorite this or favorite person, don't you show that person a bit more privilege than you do all the other people? That's what makes it favoritism.
Okay, here's this one. Yeah, right. Favoritism, exactly. Now, Miss Creative says, I thought slavery was in the Bible, though. You're wrong. You are wrong. Slavery is in the Bible. You're right. And yes, the Bible says slaves obey your masters and be good, and all that stuff, right? And that's why I don't follow the Christian faith. Anything that justifies slavery can go fuck itself. That's how passionate I am about that. You don't slave people. You don't treat people like that, and you don't use anything there's no justification for it.
Right.
No justification for slavery.
Right.
That kind of behavior? No thank you. No, Christianity didn't come from Africa. No, Christianity did not come from Africa. Listen to this one. All religions come from Africa. Not all of them. Zoroastrianism didn't come from Africa. A bunch of religions that over there in India didn't come from Africa.
Yeah.
God has no respective person. Okay, but it does say that the Jews are the God's chosen people. It does say that, Vaughn. So chosen for what? The Jews went through slavery for a long time too. It was a different kind of slavery. Okay, Stephen Daly, you my boy. All right, I have nothing but respect for you. Okay, but there's no different type of slavery. Slavery is slavery, and slavery is wrong all day long.
Right.
You're not going to convince me of anything. If you can convince me that slavery is right in any context whatsoever, please cam up tonight and let me know, because I am prepared to be wrong. I'm prepared to be wrong.
Right.
I am. Just cam up and explain it to me. Don't type it in the chat, because when you type things up in chat and text, you can lose context sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Especially with something that needs to be fleshed out like this. Mm-hmm. So please, if you can convince me that slavery was justified under any context,
right,
please do so.
Right.
And I got something for you too. Now, moving on. I got some choice words for you too. The text of the speech has been published since at least 1970, meaning it's been reprinted and thrown back into circulation. Let's see, these white people took the truth and weaponized it. Right. They twisted the words in the scriptures to cover up their sins. Really? That's what they did? You mean just like everyone else does? So what's the difference? And also, why didn't God stop them?
Yeah.
Why didn't God stop them?
Right.
Thank you. Now, moving on. At least 1970, and is often published with the title. Okay, let me start that over. The text of the speech has been published since at least 1970, and is often published with the title, The Making of a Slave. So, people, if you're looking for the Willie Lynch letter, I checked it out today. It is on Amazon, The Making of a Slave. Yeah. Here's the cover. It is a different type of slavery. It's a different type of slavery. You're right, Tommy B. You know better. You know better. There's no different type of slavery. Here's the thing. For me, it doesn't matter if it was a different type of slavery, because in my perspective, there's no such thing as good slavery or okay slavery or slavery that's acceptable or slavery that's justified. That does not exist to me. You're not going to convince. If you can convince me of it, please cam up once we drop the link tonight. Right. I challenge. That is an open challenge. Call people up. Call people you know. Right. Call them all. Oh, tell them to bring that ass. Oh, I want it. Oh, okay? If you can justify slavery to me using the Bible or any other text or any other philosophy, please do so.
Right.
Make that make sense.
Right. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at they have online classes called Master Class. Mm-hmm. And
hold on a second. Wait. Go back to that last one. Go back to the last one. Yeah. Primal studies. Here's a guy, another brilliant gentleman. Okay, brilliant. I don't even own my children. I'm responsible for them, but I don't own them. Thank you. And this is coming from a white man. And you and black people are on here on this putting in things in the chat. It was a different. You're justifying it. but the white man says no.
Yeah.
But the black people are justifying it in some small way. It was a different type of slavery. Listen to the language. And that's the program.
Well,
Wait. And then hold on.
Mandrell.
And that's the programming. And we're gonna get into all of this, audience.
Here's the
I'm
thing,
pointing all
Mandrell,
this. I'm pointing all this out because we're gonna get into this later on. Once I finish an actual read the Willie Lynch letter, you'll see just how twisted your perspective is.
Right.
You'll see.
Here's the thing. When you're talking about somebody's belief system, like Christianity is
God allows us to make our choices. What they got to do with anything, Vaughn? Vaughn, cam up tonight. Please do. Get yourself ready right now. You got time.
So
cam up tonight.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about a people's religion, and like I said, from slavery on down, like it was used as a form of control, but it was the only hope that slaves had. So
I get it.
It passed down generation to generation.
Now that completely understandable. I understand why they use it as a system of like, okay, give us hope and everything. However,
and let me make this point too. When it comes to human beings, anytime we're in an uncomfortable situation or there's something that is unfavorable, and we feel like there's we can't change it or something like that, or maybe we stuck in a situation, we use justifications as a coping mechanism, as a way to cope with it,
like we do with everything else.
Right. Some people use drugs to cope. Some people use alcohol to cope with, but a lot of times people use lies.
Some people use exercise to cope.
Yeah, but
and other people, and the vast,
because if you think about it, all these years, all this time, you've been told that Christianity is the religion, and if you take that away, what do you have?
You have everything you've always needed. You have God still, and that's the important part. You still got God. You don't need the religion. You don't need the Bible. You don't need church. And that's the point of it. You have to think of audience. Think of it. Here's what I mean by that. Let me flesh this out. Think of religion like school. Okay, the Bible is your introduction. That's kindergarten or first. Think of it as first grade. Let's be fair. Church. You go to church and it helps fleshes out all that. It helps you define it. It helps you interpret what's being said because most of us read the King James version of the Bible.
Right.
And us, thou, thee, the, and hearken and things like that. We don't talk like that these days. Yeah. Who's trying to justify slavery? Vaughn, I told you, man. Come up tonight and explain what you're trying to say. Because this is why I don't like having a conversation via text. By the way, audience, I hate texting. So if any of you out there in the audience, you and I start dating, one of you ladies out there in the audience, we start just know that I can't stand texting. You got something to say? Please call me. Please, just call me and tell me. Where was I? Yes, it's like school. Okay, you go to you read the Bible for yourself. You get your own lessons from it, right? Because you're reading the Bible and you're trying to get an understanding of this thing and apply it to life and try to figure things out for yourself. Right. Yeah. Hence, building a personal relationship with God because you're formulating your own ideology. Right. You're supposed to be formulating your own ideology and your own perspective on these things. The Bible is a tool. It's not law. Right. The church, same thing. That's another part of school. You graduate from elementary school, which is the Bible. You're going now to junior high and high school. The point is, people, you're supposed to graduate. There comes a time in your life where you're supposed to put the Bible down because you can't learn anything else from it because you've learned everything from it. If you're of age, 30 and up, you're still learning stuff from the Bible, you've been doing it wrong. Right. Then you don't have then you need to focus on, in my opinion, building a personal relationship with God as opposed to just diving into the Bible and using the Bible as a crutch and using church as a crutch. Build your personal relationship with God. Focus on that. Yes, ma'am. Miss Harmony Pill. Y'all know when someone by the end of the night will slide in and try to debate this. Yes, Harmony Field, we know.
Of course.
And I know Harmony Field, like, and I know this isn't even the point of the whole conversation, but this is all they're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Vaughn, because I probably hit a nerve with him.
Must have missed something. Who was trying to justify slavery?
Hey, Vaughn, I told you to cam up. Wait your turn. Wait till the link drops, brother. Vaughn Bryant Shamaria, he's a brilliant guy. He is, and he's a very good person. Very insightful too.
Right.
I pick at him sometimes, but I have nothing but respect for him. Yeah. Nothing but respect for Vaughn Bryant. That's okay. Making of a slave. Okay, we talked about that.
Okay, so
we talked about making of a slave.
One was religion, and
okay, yeah. We're gonna get to all that.
The next one was
Yeah, let me move on because got about 30 minutes before we drop the link. It's okay. In the book Making of a Slave, which is also the Willie Lynch letter, okay. It appeared on the internet as early as 1993. That's how early on the internet it appeared, because internet back then, nobody had internet at home.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like in libraries and stuff.
Right.
Nobody had it at home. Okay. It appeared on the internet as early as 1993 when a reference librarian at the University of Missouri in St. Louis posted the document on the library's Gopher site. See? Library's Gopher site. The librarian later revealed that she had obtained the document from the publisher of a local annual business directory, the St. Louis Black Pages, in which the narrative had recently appeared. So the St. Louis Black Pages had recently got the Willie Lynch letter. It had been out there floating around for hundreds of years. Yeah, but it's just now that the St. Louis Black Pages got a copy. They're like, oh, well, let's make copies and, put it out on the shelf.
Right.
They figured no one's going to read it.
Let's stick to what's in the letter, because now you get into how it got all the internet in 1993. Let's talk about what's actually in the letter, because it's been out for years.
17.
You still got a lot of people who
1712. Yes, 1712. Okay.
And don't even care about the significance of it.
Don't care. And when I read it, you'll see the significance, how we behave with one another. Okay. Right. Excerpt from the letter. Here we go. This is Willie Lynch speaking. Okay. Audience, this is Willie Lynch speaking. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's only there because it starts with the letter A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantation, status of plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action, but before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect or admiration. So he's saying that distrust is stronger than all those. The black slave receiving this indoctrination shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you pitch the old black males versus the young black males, and the young black males against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves. You must use female versus male, and male versus female. You must also have a white overseer who distrusts all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are our keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen.
Right.
End quote.
Right.
Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening? This is why we behave the way we do with one another. He was right. This shit actually worked.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Chad, did you hear that? Did you hear that, Chad? Hey, Lucky Marie, how you doing? Oh, nobody got to say anything to say about what I just read.
Dante
Come on, Chad. Look, Don G.
Our community. What was it? Go back. It is
go back to the last
knowing about the document and the tactics. Some of it
still going on today. Shake my head. Exactly, Harmony Pill. Go back to another one. Go back to the other one. And it's not simply our community not knowing about the document and the tactics. Some of it is.
So it's agents, black and white, keeping the tactics in play. So,
yeah, he says it in here. He says it will be perpetual. We'll do it ourselves, and it's true. The sad thing is, we don't have a slave master now. We do it to ourselves.
Yeah,
we're on autopilot.
Yeah,
we're doing it. It worked.
Yeah.
Now, chat. Everyone in the chat. Hey, look at Marie. How you doing, girl?
You know, it was a conversation we had one time, and you used because you were talking about a conversation you had with Mark, and you were saying how once like slavery was over, we were free. Like white people were like, okay, you're free now. So now what are you complaining about? And you were like, really, what white people did essentially, like the analogy you did with the dirty dishes. Throw the dishes in a sink and just like expect the dishes to clean themselves. So do you remember that?
I think so.
No, you don't. But I think
Mark and I, by the way,
you were saying the
Mark
conversation
is a
was
friend
like,
of mine. He's a friend of mine. He just happens to be white. But we've had many conversations about things like this.
Yeah, well, basically, the gist of the conversation was, all this time after slavery, Black people are still having so many issues. Why we can't come together, and why we, for instance, like with relationships, the disruption in the Black family, like the deconstruction of the Black family, all of that.
Yeah, see, this
deconstruction of the Black family, like all of that, like why is that still going on? And you were like, essentially, what white people did, and the analogy was, it's like throwing a bunch of dishes in a sink, dirty, where you dirty them up and expect the dishes to clean themselves.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. This is conditioning that still goes on to this very day in our families and community. Yes, OG Patrice, like I just literally read the Willie Lynch letter. Literally read it, word for word. You know what I'm saying? And he says in the letter, if you do this, this will go on for the next 100 years. If not the next 1,000.
Right.
He was right.
Right.
Look at many convicts after they're released. They oftentimes don't even know what to do next. They don't. You're absolutely right, Primal. They have no clue what to do next because, okay, number one, who wants to hire? Go get a job. Who wants to hire a convict? Mm-hmm. Whether that person was found innocent and then released or not, he still has to put on his resume. He was, convicted of a felony. He still has to do that. He still can't vote. You know what I'm saying? So what can he do?
Right.
Especially the people who grew up in neighborhoods where no one ever taught them anything. No one pointed them in any good direction at all.
Right.
And there are hundreds of thousands of people out there like that, if not millions.
Right.
Of course, they don't know what to do. They never knew what to do in the first place.
Right.
Primal Studies is absolutely right. I just literally read the Willie Lynch letter live. Mm-hmm. Who else has done that? The deepest part of the Willie Lynch came up with this in the Caribbean. Yeah, he's from the Caribbean.
But it's always black.
It's always black.
Right.
Yeah, because he brought it up here. Well, see, the thing is, like, if you go look at Jamaica, they mobbed up and ran the white folks out of there and had a massacre. Yeah, the Jamaicans mobbed up and ran the white people out. They're like, fuck this, they crazy.
Yeah, in Haiti they did too.
Todd Williams, what's up, brother? I just read the Willie Lynch letter live on the air, and I'm waiting to see what people in the chat have to say. And see, Von Bryant, to you, sir, this is what I mean why people believe in Jesus and God and Christianity. I'm not saying you shouldn't believe in it. I'm saying you should definitely start questioning it. Its validity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we see its effects to this day. Agree. Yes. Could you still go to church?
Could you still go to church?
Yeah. You're slaves. There's people. We're on zombie mode. We're on autopilot, and it's all because of hundreds of years of habit.
Yeah.
I'm here, guys. I know about the Willie Lynch letters. Yeah, you do know about it, JT Kashi, but you didn't hear me read it. I read it to everybody, and now everyone seems to like not know what to do. So that speaks. What's up, girl? Yeah. And let me ask you this.
Oh, no.
Since I just read that excerpt from the Willie Lynch letter, just read it. You've heard it. How do you think this? How do you think that we distrust each other today, as black people?
Of course.
I sure the fuck did, Tommy B.
Oh Lord.
Thank you, Primal Studies. Challenge everything. Thank you, Tommy B. I sure the fuck did. Because it irritates me. This is why I walk around and I'm so disappointed in black people. So disappointed in our whole culture.
Mm-hmm.
This knowledge is out there. And I just read it to people. And guess what people are going to do tomorrow?
What are they going to do
Wake
tomorrow?
up and do the same thing they've been doing. Nothing's going to change. They're not going to change a single thing.
Right.
They're going to just keep doing again. No effort is going to be put for most. I'm going to get some people. Yeah.
Right.
Harmony Appeal, if she hasn't already made changes, she will. She's a person who likes to grow, though. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? She focuses on personal growth and whatnot.
Well, I mean, and I'm not justifying
Jenny Morena, but she's Latin.
But Drill, you forgot I'm here, right?
What?
Hey, I'm
hey, how you doing?
I'm still sitting here.
What's up? Yeah, you're my sister, so I mean, I can do this.
Something that we do have to give our people a credit for the fact that we have made many attempts to do things differently, to overcome this. But at the same time, each time we did, try. There were uprisings and
there were, yeah. A lot of times we tried to we actually pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and we did.
Right.
We did just that, and we flourished.
Right.
And white people mobbed up and annihilated the entire population. And it happened time and time again. There were cities during the Old West, little black towns. There was over 73 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Over 73 of them. All of them got knocked out.
Yeah.
And this is long before Black Wall Street, Tulsa. This
so
is long before Rosewood, Florida.
My question is this, then. Mm-hmm. Given that we have come so far, I mean, what now?
What now? To what? You don't have a slave owner, but you still have the slave mentality. By and large, the black community does have the slave mentality. Like this Willie Lynch training, it's still there, alive and kicking very hard.
It is, but like my question is, okay, so how do we pull ourselves out of it now? The great thing about the movement, like during the 60s, like, when MLK was here, Malcolm X was here, at least we had a leader, somebody to follow.
Yeah,
but
that's
they
true.
took away our leaders. So every time, like, what are you supposed to do when every time you try and uprise, like, you get beat down? So now that's my question. What do we do now?
You either get up. What do you do to a bully to get him to stop bullying you? You get up and punch him in the mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If every time you get up, they knock you back down. But now it's to the point now where we're moving in such habit, and people have been so beaten. We have been so beaten down by the fact that we have every time we pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, which has been well over 100 times. Like they haven't even documented as many times as there's been quote unquote Black Wall Streets or flourishing and thriving Black towns. They haven't even documented all of them, but we do know that there's been over 100, and all of them been wiped out by a white mob. So, I understand why people have just kind of given up.
Right.
And submitted. I do understand it. Now, Tommy B brought up a point like last week we were having a conversation. When you look at everything that Black people have been through, and this is something you and I have talked about before, and you and I both agree on. When you look at as much as Black people have been through throughout time since we've been here in America, right?
Right.
I think it is an absolute miracle. Yes, a miracle that we even still exist in the first place. Like it's a true testament to our will, our willpower, our resilience, creativity, ingenuity, intellect. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you say, what next? The only thing we do is just get better, because they can't. Those things that they did in the past, they can no longer get away with. Like you can't just go into Atlanta and just start airing out the whole town. You can't go into South Central LA and just annihilate all of Inglewood.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have any idea what's going to come out of that?
Right.
Try that Black Wall Street stuff now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got a gun today.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And so, police would have to stay at home. They'd be the first target. They'd be the first target. Like it would be complete anarchy. So they can't get away with this kind of stuff anymore. B9 says it's not amazing, Mandrell. I know B9 is going to cam up tonight because I'd like him to explain to me why it's not amazing. It is to me, man. B9, that we still exist. It is amazing. Like, yeah, I think so. Like, we're strong beyond compare.
Yeah.
They hate us because they ain't us. Don GQ. Fortitude, resilience, strength mixed with generational pain. Yeah, I don't like to. I acknowledge the pain. Suzette speaks. I acknowledge the pain. I just don't like to harp on it. The pain, because I hate the fact that we even went through that in the first place, and I hate what the Willie Lynch letter has done to us. Hate is a strong word, even in my vocabulary, but I do hate that. Genuinely, I have genuine hate for it.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that it's been so subtle and subliminal till we've been brainwashed, and we're still operating off of that outline of the Willie Lynch letter to this day, and we're doing it all on our own. No one's forcing us. No one's teaching us this anymore. For hundreds of years, no one's taught it.
Right. Well, what happened is it went from, because once we were free, they still use tactics of intimidation, hence the Ku Klux Klan. They use tactics of intimidation. They would just go in people's houses and pull out the father, like the sons. What'd you say?
Where are they today, though?
They're still around. They're still around. So, but yeah, I mean, it's what ended up happening is, especially like in media, that's how you started changing the setting the images. The old tired, you know what I mean, the old y'all saw Uncle Tom image, and it just still, even that today, like still influences us. So
it does. And then there's a lot of things that they still do on the sly with the media. Like you work in Hollywood, you work in Hollywood, you work in show business. Right. You've seen this whole thing. Like they'll put, anytime they portray black people, they're doing something negative for the most part. For the most part, when it comes to black media, to media with black people in it. Like even Tyler Perry, it's like when this guy lays the drama on, he lays it on thick.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yo, Tyler, come on, man. He didn't beat his wife, beat his kids, slapped his wife's mama, okay, cheated on her 18 times, and then gave her AIDS. It's like everybody contracts AIDS. Like that's his period to every sentence he does. Like everybody gets AIDS.
It's entertainment. You know what I mean? People find it entertaining.
Yeah, but people see that and they think that's real.
That's true. They do think it's real. They do think it's real. You know, that's why you know, I've heard it said before, we do have to reclaim our image. I can say this, like with for instance, our great aunt and you know, our grandmother would always say, like, you can't come behind me looking in a kind of way. You know,
right?
You need to be
our image is
pulled
important.
Together. Yeah.
Right. Let's address this one. We Ain't Signing says Willie Lynch letters aren't real. Now, here's the thing to that with We Ain't Signing. The title of this show was going to be the Willie Lynch letter, fact or fiction. That was going to be the title of it, right? Now, the thing is, the reason why I didn't go that route with it, I just wanted to point this out to people and let people know that this is out there, is because, okay, it doesn't matter if it was fact or fiction. The actions have been done.
Right.
It's real. It's real because this is the way we behave. And right. This is written in 1712, I think. Yep. 1712.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's real or not, we ain't signing. The results are very, very real. We know what the KKK is, New Grove. We grew up in Alabama. We're well schooled on that.
Right.
The KKK is the organization, original terrorist group, but somehow they can still exist and march, etc. Yeah, that's because in this country they have the right to march and protest, just like everybody else, just like the Black Panthers.
Right.
It doesn't. Yeah, we ain't signing. It doesn't matter if there was a guy named Willie Lynch in real life or not. None of that matters. It's real because this is how we behave.
Well, we do
this
know.
This is what happened to us.
The tactics and the methods.
The text exactly.
They actually use that. And then part of the thing is, like, you know, once the Emancipation Proclamation actually passed, and once we actually were like when everyone was free, once Juneteenth happened and everybody was like free, then you had another form of slavery. It's just reinventing itself, like with sharecropping. You had people where they didn't, for the ones who didn't leave the South or who participated in sharecropping, they were trying to make a living. The slave masters would say, oh, well, the former slave masters, they would say, okay, well, I'm gonna give you this piece of land and you have to pay me, you know, X amount of whatever your crops,
30% of your crops or whatever. But they never pay it back. I mean, they'll never pay it off. Right.
So they would just there was another form of slavery because it would just keep them in a never-ending form of debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, it just
it's like those
another form of slavery.
Right. It's the same thing as those check cashing money loan places, payday loans.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing. Mm-hmm. They do it today, and it's legal. I did the show.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Go ahead.
It's one thing white people know is they've learned and studied human nature, human behavior. So they know how to pull strings, and they always find a way to pull strings to keep pulling the strings. So every time just all throughout history, every time we've gotten to a point where we started to actually come up and advance, they always found a way to pull the rug or pull the strings out from up under us. Prime example you've seen was the Black Judas.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah. Yeah. Like you had what's his name? The young guy, the activist. How old? He was like 21 when he was
22.
22. Yeah, super young. But I mean, he had the potential of actually like bringing Black people together, and not only Black people together, like poor communities together.
Right.
Actually,
See him,
and that in itself was a threat.
Yeah, like
but
him.
what
And
they did was they took people like inside people playing inside.
Fred Hampton. Thank you, Tommy
people.
B.
Right, exactly. Our own people. They to turn against us, to turn against ourselves.
Yep. And the thing is, like, you give white people too much credit. Way too much credit. No, dude, this look, you can see in our actions. Stop it, we ain't signing. You see in the way we behave and interact with one another, man.
Way too much.
This is what happened. Like, come on, bro.
It did.
I'm
did. Saying, what am I giving them too much credit for?
Well, he said,
even if like what you call higher learning. It's a line in there, a scene in there. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but it was a scene where like Ice Cube and Omar Epps, they group had fought the skinhead dudes, and like now each one they was back in their dorm rooms, and Omar Epps was so fired up, like yeah, we did that. Ice Cube was like, calm down, man, that's one fight. And then Omar Epps was like, what you mean? Like, nah, we really gonna show them. We gonna show them. And Ice Cube was like, what you talking about? They own all of this. He was like, they own you, they own the school, they own this dorm. He was like, we behind enemy lines. So how are we giving white people too much credit?
Right. And exactly. And the thing is, like, the way that this strategy was mapped out. And by the way, Auntie TJ, I don't know if how long it's been since you've gotten here, but I actually read this excerpt from the Willie Lynch letter. Okay.
Right.
Live on air. So if you didn't catch it after the broadcast, please check that out. In my opinion, it's important to know that this is literature from the year 1712. Now, guarantee you, I bet you $5,000 William Simon comes up here and says, no, it wasn't. He went to Wharton's and Harvard. He's an educated brother, you know what I'm saying? And I love him to death. Nothing but respect. I love higher learning. One of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah, we ain't Sonny. Yeah, we love it too. But here's the thing. I think it's important that people hear this and know that this strategy that's hundreds of years old, direct reflection of how we interact with one another today.
And not for nothing, that's the reason why really they fighting critical race theory.
Yeah, they're trying to keep what is critical race theory? It's nothing.
It's outlining the actual systemic structure that they outline to keep Black people out of certain neighborhoods, certain areas, to keep them from having access to wealth, access to different things. But the whole argument is, you're spreading hate. It's not spreading hate. It's teaching what was actually done.
Yeah, and people need to know that so we won't repeat the mistakes of old. Like, I mean, like this, and that's why I said I was gonna make it a debate on what did people think. Not a debate, but I wanted to get everybody's insight on: do they think the Willie Lynch letters? Do you think they're real? Do you think they come from a real guy named Willie Lynch? Because I heard the rumors also that he wasn't a real person, and this is just written by slave owners of that time in Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? And just made up a character named Willie Lynch. So we're quoting Ice Cube movies for historical references. No, B9, we are not doing. B9's trolling. Oh, listen.
Okay.
Yeah, ignore that one.
Oh wait,
Ice trolling. He's picking at
it. But John Singleton directed it. John Singleton also directed Rosewood, which also didn't get its just due like it should have, because Rosewood was based off of actual events, actual city in Florida.
B9's picking at us now. He knows.
I know.
He knows we don't mean that. He knows. He knows it's not what we're doing.
I know.
Okay. By the way, audience, we are going to be dropping the link at 9:30, which is in less than 1 minute now. You guys want to cam up? Come on and talk about this. Tell me what you think. Was it right for me to sit here and read this excerpt from the Willie Lynch letter? Was it right for me to even do it in the first place? Should I have kept my mouth shut?
Which is wrong.
You know what I'm saying? People would say that white people are given too much power, and yet knowing race has no scientific proof. They believe that it's real, which is more potent. They believe that it's real. And again, this is this was done to us so long ago. Also, people, cam up.
Oh Lord.
Now, yeah. Do you think I should have kept my mouth shut? Let's ask you first, since we don't have anyone up here yet.
Do I think you should have kept your mouth shut?
Yeah, because Raw B and I are on the same page, and you know how I feel about Raw B.
Yeah.
I love Raw B. Look, that's my dog, man. I love. You know how I feel about Raw B.
Yeah.
Raw B, my sister and I talked about you off camera, like in one-on-one. We're fans. We're absolute fans of you, Raw B.
Yeah.
My sister met you just last night, and she loves you already. She's like, yeah. She's from Harlem.
Yeah, I can believe it. But okay. I don't think you should have kept your mouth shut. It's something that should be talked about. Let me tell you something. People talk about how, black people hold on to slavery, or we should just let slavery go. Well, the Jews don't let go of the Holocaust. They got a whole museum about it here.
Yeah. Well, we got a slavery museum here.
But I'm just saying, like, they bring it up like, they make sure that you remember so that it won't happen.
Yeah, 11 million. We can't say the J word about the little hat people. We can't actually. They're like Voldemort. He who must never be named.
Oh, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
They ain't nothing to mess with. Wu-Tang Clan. How you feel about that one, Tommy? The Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
All right, first up, we're gonna come in because
that's a good one.
Yeah, we're gonna end the show at 10:30. My sister has to go to work in the morning, and I'm trying to be respectful of her time.
Yeah,
as respectful. But the after party will be going on as usual after the fact. Hey, OG Patrice, how you doing? OG Patrice, you're up first.
It's
so
nice
tell
to
me,
see you this time.
Number one, do you think I should have kept my mouth shut and never brought this up at all? And also, what do you think about tonight's show and the significance of it? How do you think this relates to us today?
Well, absolutely not. I don't think that you should have kept your mouth closed, because I think it's a lot of people that unfortunately still don't know our history and still don't know a lot of things, even possibly about their own ancestry. And I would think it should spark a curiosity. I would think it should spark of knowing where you come from to know where you're going type of scenario. And I agree with you, Shamiria. Every other race never forgets their history.
Right.
And if we really dig into our own history and our own ancestry, it starts from our ancestors. Like Christianity was not a religion in Africa. It was actually a culture. And when I say culture, it was an indoctrination, whether you want to call it Christianity or whatever your spirituality was per your lineage or tribe you come from. And that took me on my own journey. And I've said that before on many panels, because I wanted to know. I was born and raised as a Baptist Christian, on the south side of Chicago, sang in the choir, fell into the whole white Christianity. My mama had the white Jesus picture on the wall. I remember it all when I was a little girl. And then when I started my own journey, I remember how much of a lie it was. And it's unfortunate that a lot of Black Christians still today follow that same white ideology of what was told to them from generations to generations. So when it comes to things like this, I absolutely think it's important. But the fact of the matter is, what our culture and our people is, we will know the truth and still won't follow the truth or do the truth. Even if we would do our own research and come to our own knowledge of things, of what to be true in our culture and in our history, we still won't follow them, because we still follow the white ideology. We still fall into the white capitalism, the white holidays and all of that. We still fall into that crap. So my journey for me took me on finding out my very lineage and what tribe I come from in Africa. And I'm glad that it did. And it took that and the curiosity of me of wanting to know the truth to find that out. Now, as far as the Willie Lynch letter, I heard it, I read it many years before. And I had heard, something to the fact that it was supposed to be not supposed to be a true written letter. But is there truth in that letter? Absolutely, because I think that there's conditioning today in our culture that ideology has been taken from, when it comes from, the gender wars, when it comes from the colorism, when it comes from all of these things that has perpetuated our community and our culture and been a detriment to that. I think it definitely speaks volumes to it. I don't know. I haven't done any further digging and research to know if it is actually a true letter or not.
Mhm.
Yeah, my thing is, like I said earlier, like we ain't signed and said, yeah, those Willie Lynch letters aren't true. My thing is this: it doesn't that part doesn't matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter, because these are the tactics and strategies that they use to subjugate us, and they still affect us to this day, full force. And the sad part, the twist, is we're on autopilot. This document is correct. They did these things, and it did affect us hundreds of years later.
Yeah, and the very conditioning,
very conditioning.
for sure.
Let's see,
For
next.
sure, it's called post-traumatic slave disorder. And what people need to realize is, when we came out of slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the civil rights, and all of those, there was no therapy given for none of those eras of traumas. And believe it or not, it's been scientifically proven that those atrocities, those depressions and oppressions have been passed down from generation to generation. That's why things like depression, PTSD, and all those things are hereditary in a lot of families, because it has been passed down. And when you look at our race of people have been through all of that with no therapy, through none of that process, and that ideology and that conditioning has also been passed down from generation to generation. How I was raised to feel about my own texture of my hair, being, calling our hair nappy, me thinking that our hair is not good hair like any other race of people. Hair is quote unquote good hair, so like all hair is good hair. I had to tell myself that as a little Black girl, my complexion, being dark skinned, facing colorism. I had to believe that my skin color is beautiful just like anyone else's, just as light as I am or medium complected than I am. These are things that absolutely affected our community condition-wise and indoctrinized in generations. When you hear your mother say it, because her mother said it and her mother before her said it. So we can act like we are so far removed from these things, but we are not. And it affects us directly or indirectly in our families and in our communities. And I digress.
Absolutely. Now, next we're going to move up to We Ain't Signing. After that, we're going to have Tommy B, then Rob B, then Brother Bernard, Jay Buggy, and the Thinking Man's podcast is going to be after him. Now, to you, what you just said, OG, a lot of people ask me, my white friends ask me, why do y'all even do that? Why do you tell your kids this? It was out of protection. Because if your kids were caught calling another Black person a human being, or was caught reading, you were killed. You were forced. So what do you do as a parent? What do you teach your child? Nope, you better not call it. It's not human. But yeah, and the child's gonna wonder. Wait, but there's no difference between us of skin color. Kids notice this. Nope. Yeah. They slap you. Nope. Shut up. Do what I say. Do what I say. You know what I'm saying? So the parents are teaching their kids to think these things, or to say these things about themselves out of protection, because they want their kids to at least live. Now, we ain't signing all the way from Shanghai, China.
Lockdown Shanghai. What's up?
Lockdown Shanghai. That's right. Your kung fu is pretty good. What you got for me? But it is no match for mine. Okay. What you got for me tonight? We ain't signing.
Shout out from Cell Block 9 or Cell Block 16 in my case. So first I want to say this. I don't have an issue with you reading the Willie Lynch letter, because I'm trying to follow your line of questioning. But the thing about it is we have to properly digest. Mm-hmm. And in a situation is this. If we truly want to heal as the community, and if we truly want to fix and end the generational curses, as we so like to say all of the time, then we have to go to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that throughout history, we have shown that we are unable to work together. And I'm going to submit a couple pieces of evidence into the record. So the first piece of evidence I want to enter into the record is called Daughters of the Slave Trade. And there it talks about how colonialism came to West Africa and how the Portuguese and the Dutch married in those areas to establish trade routes to sell Africans. It was Africans that sell Africans. It wasn't the colonialisms. Second, and even when we look at the Arab slave trade, which predates the transatlantic slave trade, we see the same thing. We see people who look like us work with other people to subjugate us. We can see that we can see that with Martin Luther King, and we can also see that with Malcolm X. Right? It was an internal dispute that led to that, and that's what I meant by saying that we give white people too much credit. A lot of what we have. Allow me to finish.
Go ahead and finish. My bad.
So and then also a book called Tommy Curry, where he talks about how during the Reconstruction era, people would say, "I'd rather be a white man's slave than a black man's husband." Then we look at 1968, where we look at the end of Jim Crow. Then Monahan Scissors shows the graphics of how we immediately got away from each other once we could live in other neighborhoods. The people who were prominent, upper class, whatever, we immediately dispersed. We're not focusing on the problem, ladies and gentlemen, by simply just saying they've done this to us. Because when we look at history and when we see it constantly repeating itself, even before pre-colonialism, we see that there's that inability to work and unite together. And this, what I personally believe, is what ails ADOS today. And I'll close with that.
Gotcha. Now, my response to that.
So things need to be properly digested and properly put in context.
I got you. I'm with you. Now, just because you said that, I want to flesh out my reasoning behind bringing this up tonight. You know, we ain't signing. You and Tommy B both know me, especially my sister right here next to me. They know I'm a very detailed, oriented person. My sister has seen me be so detailed about stuff till it's like, dang, when are you gonna finish? You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm meticulous. There's times where I'm meticulous like that. I want to point out to people one of the biggest root causes of a lot of our issues today, and the way we view each other and the way we treat each other today. And this tactic is one of the root causes. Finding the root cause is one of the most essential things you can do to cure an illness, fix fix any problem. Go ahead, Shamaria.
So, like I said, because you can't discredit the fact that we have time and time again throughout our history made attempts to actually pull ourselves up.
Yeah.
But they always pull the rug out from up under us. I never forget, one of my uncles said this one time. He was like, integration was the worst thing that happened to Black people. And I was like, why would you say that? Okay, he was like, because before integration, we had our own everything. We had our own communities. We had our own stores. We had our own neighborhoods. We had our own everything. We were self-sufficient, for real. But then once integration happened, we stopped supporting our own neighborhoods. We stopped shopping in our own neighborhoods. We stopped supporting each other because we felt like the white man's, water was sweeter or whatever. His grass was greener. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember he told me
ourselves like we didn't try to overcome it. Like, because we have time and time again, but there's always some other strategy, some other system they put in place to knock us right back down.
Yep.
And I just wanna say one other thing if I could, and then I'm
go ahead.
And when we talk about the Willie Lynch letter and its origins, the Willie Lynch letter and the origins actually come from Rome, because there is a Latin version of it, because the Slavs were the first group of slaves in antiquity. And that's where they put Slavic women over Slavic men. And then the Europeans practiced that practice from Rome. So that's another reason why we know that the Willie Lynch letter is not, the person didn't write it, but the practices actually come from Rome. And then to the point of which your sister made, I apologize, I can't see your name at the moment. Shamiria. When you talk about we made efforts, yes, we did. But what happened? It was someone who looked like us stabbed us in the back.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now we gotta move this kind of quick.
I'll pass. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thank you for
Tommy B. Batter up. What you got for us, man? Give us some of that. Give us some of that street knowledge.
From the beginning when we was talking about the difference in slaveries, I wasn't justifying it, but the closest I usually try to describe it to people is like with pimping. They got something where it's like regular pimping, and then they got something called guerrilla pimping. Not saying either one of them is cool, but if you know what guerrilla pimping is, it's a hell of a lot different than regular pimping. Guerrilla pimping is you basically beating the shit out of her and forcing her to go out, whereas regular pimping is more she choosing up. So not saying either is right, but there's a huge difference. That a lot of the slavery that was going on back in the day was indentured fortitude, where you be an indentured servant for a certain amount of time, you know what I'm saying, and you was able to pay your way out of it. Also, when you had kids, they weren't automatically slaves as well. They also didn't wipe out your identity, etc., etc. Number two, like we ain't signing. I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Didn't nobody turn over us on Tulsa. Didn't nobody turn over us on Lake Lanier or even the Negro League. You know, we came together and had Negro League, and then they let Jackie Robinson in, and then, like you said, everybody thought, you know, water was better, and they went over to the MLB. So we've had plenty of them where it wasn't necessarily one of us turning. We've had, you know, we got a lot of examples where we have come together, we formed stuff. And then I can even give you one that a lot of people that a lot of people don't know about, as far as in LA when they had the truce between the Bloods and the Crips. And this ain't like something that's like known publicly or whatever, but when they had that truce, it was a lot of the dudes from the streets that was talking about how like it'd be cars coming that would be like one of their enemy's cars, but the enemy was in jail. That car was supposed to be impounded, and they was doing drive-bys. And then so it's a lot of ways where we've tried to come together. And even if you go with the COINTELPRO, like they've always found a way to infiltrate and divide us and stuff like that.
That's how they got the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
That's how they got the Black Panthers. Yeah.
And then even as far as like with the slave trade thing too, a lot of us was already here. Like, you know, we've been taught a lot that damn near my whole life, I thought 100% of us, as far as like slaves, came from Africa. But logistically, it literally makes zero sense. If you come here, you've already dominated the people here, to then say, let's go send ships all the way across the sea to go people from over here, when you got people that's already over here on this land that you turn into slaves. So most of the people that were slaves were actually from this country. I mean, was already in this country, whether they be black or indigenous people.
Yeah, indigenous and aboriginal. And I want to be clear about the part about slavery, because the first thing, you know, people try to do is to justify. It's like, but yeah, black owned slaves and Indian owned slaves. Yes, we know that's true. We also know slavery was legal. But let's be clear about something. And this goes to the legal system right to this day. Just because something is legal don't mean it's right. Just because it's legal.
Right.
And also, one more thing, bro.
Go ahead.
Somebody brought up I guess you could say the Jays situation, which is not to belittle what they went through, because what they went through was horrible. But let's not get it twisted. It was 6 years. It was from 1939 and 1945.
Our shit was
so
100.
We're gonna compare that to 300 to 400 years of this. You know, it's not no comparison.
I brought up the Jews. The Jays.
No, not you. It was a comment where they was talking about how many got killed.
The point was, they don't forget it or allow it.
No, absolutely. We're the only people, if we bring up our stuff, it's why you do that. Why you do that? They literally moved about the Holocaust.
I live in Arizona, and all I see is indigenous writings, indigenous this everywhere about the Indians. They own so much land, they have to get permission from the state of Arizona to even build on their land. That's how deep they are with the code that they keep with each other. We're the only ones that fight against each other, inbred, and actually don't stay on code when it comes to things of our own culture, to our detriment.
Gotcha. Let me move forward because I gotta get everybody. Now, Robbie, you're gonna be right after this gentleman. I want to get him because it's his first time on my show. All right. I want to show gratitude for showing up. I don't know how long you've been here to tune in. Hopefully you've been here since the beginning. Because my sister and I had a very good conversation before we opened up to the panel. Now, Mr. Bernard, Brother Bernard, I met this gentleman the other day on TJ Randolph's platform. Brilliant, brother. What do you got for us?
I was going to respond to the KKK part of it, and then I was going to come on down. But when you have a grandfather that looks you in the face, and I'm looking y'all in the face, and say, when I was 6, you see all the lights come around, and it gets closer, and the man gets off his horse, and I'm 6 years old, and he grabs me by the shirt and say, "Nigga boy, where your nigga daddy?" He said, "I tell you what, since your dad ain't here, we're going to burn your house down. Start walking." That's my history. So nobody up here can tell me what's not real. That man slept with a gun under his pillow until the day he died because of that trauma. My grandfather, my aunt has it right now. Until she goes, then I'm going to get it. Gotcha. But that's that real trauma. So that's all I came up here to say, because when you get real stories like that of a grown man who fought World War II, telling you that story with tears in his eyes, that's something serious that you never forget. And you can't come tell none of us up here on the panel to forget nothing. Nothing. Right. You don't have the right.
They won't let us forget.
No, they won't let us forget. But when you get stories like that and it hits you right there in the chest, and you getting that story at the age of like 12 years old, it sits with you for the rest of your life. You look at life different, and I feel like nobody will ever have the right to tell me to forget anything, or even my brothers or sisters that are up here right now. Don't tell us to forget nothing, because we still feel it. That's all I had to say. That's all I wanted to come up here to say, to remind people of the stories that are passed on like that. Peace and love to everybody.
No problem. Thank you very much. And Tommy B brought this up before. I mean, like, my sister and I don't really talk about it, but our grandparents told us, especially our grandfather on our mother's side, he told us all, like, on our mother's side, there's nothing but horror stories over there when it comes to white people. So like,
and that's
like, imagine being a kid, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But that was another reason too. Like in the colorism conversation the other night, I was saying how my grandfather, he didn't want me to get darker because life wasn't like, it was already hard enough for you being black, but the darker you were, the harder it was going to be. That was a real thing.
That's facts.
Like if you were a lighter shade, it was still going to be hard, but you might be able to get by a little bit better with things. But the darker you were, the harder life was going to be for you.
Gotcha.
And he didn't want that for us.
Now let's move forward. Raw B, you were next after you. Thinking Man podcast. Thinking Man, thanks for coming up on my show. This is your first time. Okay. After him, we're going to get Jay Boogie. Okay. And after him, there's going to be B9. Raw B.
Robbie, you got your fan.
You know, girl, you know I got the fan, girl. You know I got
Robbie, she was talking about that fan. She was talking about that fan today. She called me up today. She said, Robbie was killing me with that fan.
Yes, honey. I do not play no games about this fan, honey. But I just got a couple of quick things to say, and I'm glad y'all talked about it. Y'all know I tagged y'all in that song. And it's one of my favorite songs ever. Shout out to Jay-Z. What Jay-Z said, y'all? He said, light ninja, dark ninja, faux ninja, real ninja, rich ninja, poor ninja, house ninja, field ninja, still ninja.
Okay.
So, you know, well, I know what he said, but I'm not trying to get nobody channel flag. You know, I try to keep it PG-13. I try to. But, you know, a lot of people have a lot of commentary about race and what's real and what's not real, and letters that affect this social construct that people swear to God is biological, that they don't matter, they shouldn't be discussed. But, we want to believe in something that's not real. So a lot of this is based off of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I want to talk about two of his famous quotes, one that's ingrained in our spirit and one not so much. Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of the skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today." And every American of any ethnicity has had these words imprinted on their conscience to represent the totality of who Dr. King was. You know why? Because these words align with the myth that Americans have substituted for history. These words have Black people accepting their condition and hope that one day white Americans will include us in their story. We spend an entire weekend memorializing these words, teaching generations of Black school children that this is who Martin Luther King was. But the reality is, in that March on Washington, he said something more poignant. He said, 5 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. Oh, y'all don't hear me. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. Now, this is in the 50s. People were willing to get up off their butt and actually go out into the world and let it be known that we're not going. And today, 70 years later, we sit on YouTube and talk about how race is real and talk about how what Black people do to each other and how horrible it was, forgetting that Africans were indeed indentured servants as well. Forgetting that we do have the power. And oh, what is it? I am somebody. We forget that part. So yes, we could sit here. We know that slavery was real. We know that our ancestors went through the gambit of problems. But when do we get back to our own prosperity? When do we fight? I mean, we're going to just sit around begging people to give us reparations that they didn't want to give us when they emancipated us from slavery? Or are we going to actually, put down the bull crap and get it together as a people and rise up to some type of power? But I'm going to be quiet, though. I'm going to be quiet because I don't never know what I'm talking about, y'all. Let me hush. Bless the Lord.
There she is with that fan. You hear?
Was that your? I was going to say, is that fan popping? I'm
Yeah,
hearing
that's
like,
that fan.
oh my.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. I'm gonna get everybody's initial thoughts, and then we're gonna after we got everybody a chance to speak, then we'll come back and give everyone the second chance to talk. All right, Thinking Man's Podcast. Is your first time on my show? Is it your first time watching? Number one, that's my first question.
No,
first time tuning into my show. This ain't.
Nah, bro. Come on now.
What other show of mine have you seen? What episode?
I watch a lot of this stuff, bro. I'm always paying attention. I'm just moving through. I'm always moving, bro.
Oh, okay, cool. Got it. So, what do you got for us? Was I wrong for reading the Willie Lynch letter and telling people, listen, you don't have a slave master anymore, but you're running on autopilot? Break out of that shit. That was the point of this show. Break out. This is what you're doing. This is why. This is one of the root causes of why we behave the way we do. Now that you know the root cause, it's up to you to fix the behavior. Get up and do it. Because I agree with Robbie on that. I mean, hey, can't rest on it.
Yeah, I think it's a good show, bro. So shout out to you, Black Man, bro. Y'all putting on a good show. I think that the Willie Lynch letter, I don't know if it's real or not. That's neither here nor there. But I think the information in it is important. So you got to really think about the way that you move and behave and the systems that are created. All of this stuff is engineered. So you really have to take note, sit back, and process the situation. But there's so many of us that are living in poverty, living in the hood, so to speak, that we don't even have the time or the space to consider our environment and think deeply about it. And that's my only perspective, bro. I can't really argue, who's right or wrong, but I do know that we have to put more effort in processing the way that we handle situations. And I agree with you about, not trusting each other. That's an issue in our community as well. Colorism is an issue. There's a lot of different layers to what plague us. We actually divide ourselves. So when you say autopilot, that's a fact. That's actually a fact, bro. So that's it.
All right. Thinking Man's Podcast. Coming here dropping bombs as usual. This guy's normally quiet. Normally real quiet. All right. This gentleman I met a few weeks ago. And he's been one of the coolest cats I've met on YouTube yet. Jay Boogie.
What's up,
what
sir?
What you got for us, man?
First of all, how's everyone on the panel tonight?
Sign OG.
Doing good.
All right.
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you very much.
Salute.
I especially wanted to come up for this particular panel because the way that I look at it is that this is not an outside problem. It's not something to where outside entity is holding us back. This is going on within our people. When you read the letter, I have nothing against reading the letter, and I really don't care whether it's real or not, because we see the effects of it. Like Deontay Wilder said, to this day, we see these effects, and it's real. But I think each and every one of us, in some small form or fashion, we live this cycle, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Shamaria, you brought up something about back in the 70s. I was born in the 70s and early 80s. I can remember that we did own a lot of the businesses in our community. And unfortunately, I was able to see when all of that shifted. And I had a interview with a woman that was in the community for 50 plus years. She had a restaurant, and she broke down for us like what happened when integration took place, and how we wanted to go downtown. I'm from Chicago, so South Side. So we used to patronize the businesses in our neighborhood, but once integration took place, we wanted to go everywhere but shopping with the businesses in our neighborhood. And she broke down how all of that happened. And technically speaking, that had nothing to do with any other race. That had to do with ourselves. We made that choice to start shopping outside of our communities. We made the choice to stop supporting the Black businesses in our own communities. Nobody had a hand in that. We did that to ourselves. And, I have countless stories. I just like to share one of my early interactions with social media. I saw this brother, and he was on there, and he was telling a story about how this person moved into his neighborhood. He drove up to the house to park in his driveway, and he noticed that it was a guy standing next door. He knew the house. He knew the history of the house that was next door to him. So he went over, he introduced himself to this person. This person was of Hispanic descent. And the man said, yeah, I just bought this house, I'm fix it up, I'm gonna get it together and what have you. And so as they were standing out there, it was a car that drove up, 2 trucks actually. He said people, some of the Hispanics got out of the truck, they got their toolboxes and some beers. He said that he went into the house, it was about 9 p.m. that night. And he said when he got up the next day, the next time he was able to see that house overnight, they were able to rehab that house. Now, these were all people of Hispanic descent. And I remember being touched because the brother started crying on camera. And his question was, why are we as a people, why are we not able to do the same type of thing? Why are we not able to support each other on a level like that? These people wasn't coming in. They was just going to smash some beers and help the man fix up property. I've never seen that happen with our own people. And that has nothing to do with nobody else. That has to do with us ourselves. So we have to be the ones responsible to get out of the condition and start doing things differently. Doesn't matter about the roots, doesn't matter about the history. It's about making the decision to getting started right here, right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm from the south side of Chicago too, born and raised. So I feel
just
you.
a fun
All
fact.
right.
I remember my granddad was talking about during the Great Migration, most Black people from Alabama either migrated to Buffalo, New York, or Chicago.
Yeah.
So
All right. Now,
person,
okay.
Yeah. Chicago, you might have Alabama roots.
Right. Now, B9, hate to do it to you, but please don't logo stroke us tonight, man. You normally don't, but I mean, and I do. Look, Shamaria, I love this dude's advice.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you practical, actionable advice that you can put into practice in life. He does. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some comments, interesting comments I want to get to before we close out tonight's show. All right. So B9.
The fella. I ain't seen you in a minute, B9.
Right, B9. Where you been, bro? B9 be ninja watching. B9 one of those people, he'll watch. He may not leave a comment, but he's watching.
Not ninja watching.
Yeah. Okay. B9 be on creep mode. But see, honestly, that's how you know who real and who ain't.
Is he there?
Yeah, B9, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, what's up, bro? What you got for us, bro?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, greetings to everybody. God bless everybody on the panel and in the chat. Wonderful show. I think first thing I want to address is I think you did a great job, Mandrell, by picking this topic. Because look at the people that you brought out and look at the comments and the opinions that you brought out tonight. Whether people agree with them or not, you had a great and a wide spectrum of opinions and historical facts brought up, some of them accurate, some of them inaccurate. But it's an excellent show. To what Jay Boog just said, I'm not picking on Jay Boog, but what he just said is the perfect example of what I want to address with this. Mandrell, you just read basically that the Willie Lynch letter was a ploy to use us against us.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard numerous people on the panel, I've heard numerous people that are Black in my life, outside of YouTube, just in my everyday life, blame Black people for Black people's problems. And although I agree with Jay Boog that Black people are the solution to Black people's problems, we are not our own problem. And the Willie Lynch letter is accurate in what it says, but it's ultimately bullshit. Because are we under the assumption that man has lived all these thousands of years and didn't know how to manipulate each other? Didn't know how to manipulate a short man against a tall man? Didn't know how to manipulate a blonde-haired person versus a brunette or a redhead? This is nothing new, ladies and gentlemen. This is human nature. 101.
Yeah.
Now, the real problem that we have not addressed is the Constitution, is what America was really built on and built for. The KKK and the militias that you speak of is not a Willie Lynch invention. It is an American invention. It is put into the Constitution. It is what the forefathers founded this country on, is control. The Willie Lynch letter and all of this nonsense about them killing all the slaves and this and that is nonsense. If they killed all the slaves, who was going to build their country for free?
Well, that's the thing. They were whenever they had a problem out of Black slaves, they would just lynch them instead of dealing with them properly. So what the Willie Lynch letter told them, was no, don't do that. Manipulate them and use them against each other.
No, they understood that if you make an example out of one of them in front of a crowd, everyone else will get in line.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a guillotine?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So once again, this is nothing new, ladies and gentlemen. We are romanticizing and going over something that is a part of history that is called advertising. No different than Birth of a Nation, and what it advertised for the KKK. No different than what Willie Lynch all of a sudden advertised for lynching. Cities like Lynchburg. It was a word that they wanted to make vogue. And they put this great backstory behind it, but they've already knew how to control you. Because if you really know your history, we controlled them first. We didn't just make slaves out of us, we made slaves out of them. This is the get back. If you know anything about the Moors, you know that the Moors ran Italy. The Moors ran Europe.
He's absolutely right about that.
The whole Catholic revolution is built on the Moors being defeated and them creating the New World Order under the auspice of Christianity to bring us, quote unquote, savages into civilization. So this plan of America and slavery didn't even happen on America. It was a get back. We as Black people have been on America for over 20,000 years.
All right, B9.
Stop wasting time. Stop wasting time over all this BS and all of these folklore stories and all this and that or whatever. We've seen everybody else get ahead. We know what it takes to get ahead. The one thing that I will agree with everybody on this panel, and whether it's Willie Lynch or any other topic, until we get along and until we work together and until we actually personify this great fist that we are all held under for this Black revolution, we're all wasting our time, and we'll have great topics next week and the week after and the following week. But until we actually come together and do the work ourselves instead of romanticizing over all this nonsense, we're not going to go anywhere. We're literally marching in place.
Okay, thank you, B9. Once again, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got 17 more minutes. My computer's jacking up. All right, we got 17 more minutes. There's some comments, some interesting comments I want to get to. All right. And B9 is right. But I didn't put, and I didn't read this letter tonight to, as a complaint or anything like that. Hey, we see how we treat each other. This is one of the underlying reasons why. Okay. And so it's an effort to get people to understand what the root cause is, and so they can make the changes in their life. Now, Chaotic Truth, you dropped some very interesting comments tonight, man. It says, Chaotic Truth says, slavery did not exist. Stop believing you were slaves. I don't understand this. This one. Okay, hold up. Stop right there. Stop. Whoa. Okay. All right. I wish I had more context. Blacks were not slaves. Old Blacks love wanting to be victims. Old Blacks love wanting to be victims of slaves. Pathetic. Okay. Why are you all fighting to be slaves? It's pathetic. Blacks live in greatest communities on the planet. Country on the planet will all be opportunities, but want to be called slaves. Okay. Go back to Africa if you believe you were slaves. Okay. Pamela, give me a minute.
All right, Marcus Garvey.
Listen.
Back to African movement.
All right, listen. I mean, I don't have anything to say. For once, I think I went left without a punchline.
I'm gonna need that fan in a minute.
Wait.
Look, I got you.
Wait. Okay. Here's the thing. I want to hear is two.
I cannot.
I get it. Hold on, OG Patrice. Give me a second. Okay, there's three people I want to hear from first. The quietest man on the planet, Thinking Man podcast. You saw those comments. You heard me read them. I was having trouble reading them because I kind of think I think he was trolling. No one actually believes that.
He meant that.
Okay, Thinking Man's podcast. Give me a second, Robbie. Thinking Man's podcast. What say you to that?
Man, that's interesting, bro.
Ain't it though?
It's very interesting. So he's denying all history.
I guess. I don't know.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, bro. You know, I think the point I'm hoping, just to give him a little bit of grace, is that we have to stop looking behind us and start looking forward and realize the opportunity that we do have. We definitely have an opportunity which is facts, is one of the greatest countries on the globe to make a way for ourselves and stop being a victim. There are some of us who act like victims and not acting like we have full autonomy. Every day you wake up, every decision you make, you have full autonomy. Nobody's holding you back. You're holding you back. Every day you make conscious decisions. And if your thoughts are not clear, seek help, seek counseling so you can get out of your own way. Now, do I acknowledge that things have happened in the past? Definitely. But we have to move forward. We can't continue to dwell on the past, bro. You got to move forward. And I think that's what he's trying to say. I'm just trying to give him some grace. You know what I mean? But we got to move forward.
That ain't what he's trying to say.
OG Patrice, I'm trying to give him some grace, you know. But we definitely have to move forward as a people and not get stuck on the man is doing this, the man is doing that. You made a decision whether you were going to study hard for that test or not, or whether you was going to read that book or move forward, get up, go to class, whatever it is. That was a conscious decision that was made by you. Right. So whether we're together or not, politically speaking, or otherwise, it's a conscious decision.
Can I say this? Can we do more than just pray about it? Because I think that in our community, that's like the biggest thing. Oh, just pray about it. Just pray about it. You got to do more.
Now, I second that emotion.
Right.
I second that emotion.
You got to do more than just pray about it. Like,
gotcha. Okay, now we're gonna go to Brother Bernard. Okay, now the Brother Bernard. I want to get everybody's favorite uncle. All right, from the Bay, Tommy B. You up next. So get your shit together. Get ready, Tommy. I'm just like, after that, we got to go to J Boogie. I don't know what y'all got to say. I pretty much got a good handle on what the women are gonna say. That's why I'm letting the brothers go first. OG Patrice and Raw B gonna get the mic and just go.
I thought you were gonna let Raw B out. I was gonna say, look, I'm gonna open up the gate. I'm gonna open up the gate for Raw B. I'm like, go get it.
Right, no,
he ain't even worth the time.
I gotta say that one for I gotta say that for later, man. I can't bring up the big guns from the get-go. I mean, blacks were not slaves. Old blacks wanted to be victims.
If anybody follows him, this is what he does. So there's really no compromising with him per se. But from my first story, I don't worry about people like him because I've been in the fight technically, you know, like literally, you know, I could be a ride or die. My wife got the insurance tight for a reason. I'm looking at the camera when I say that. So Raw B is not the only one. Let's not get it twisted like a bad braid. Okay. So, you know, when people like that, do that, to me, it's kind of disrespectful. I'm 48, so I'm gonna speak the truth. I don't have time to play games with kids. Stuff like that being said, to me, is kind of disrespectful. So,
very much.
I mean, whether he's doing it or not, or saying it or not, for whatever, to me, that's disrespectful. In fact, I'm not gonna look at it no other way.
And he's known to be that.
And he's known to be that, and that's what I was saying at first. So that's what he's known for, and I'm not the one who needs to worry about what they're saying. He does, because you can't keep going around saying that and think there's not going to be an effect for the cause that you just did or say. Where there's a cause, there's the effect. So I'm gonna keep it at that. I'm gonna keep it 100 like that. He might not feel that way, but I don't think I'm too far off from how other people feel on this panel or in the chat. But I cannot speak for you others either. So I digress and I yield.
Gotcha. All right. Well, everybody, before I let Tommy B come up, because we're going to do the after show, we're going to continue the conversation in the after show. All right. But I just want to say this before I bring Tommy B. Everybody who has that ideology, if even Oprah got it, they got this. Wake up, nigga. That wake up call. Now, Tommy B, pull on up. Come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
No,
Tommy B, what?
Like, I grew up with my great grandmother, bro. I heard certain stories that,
right?
Like, I got retainers for niggas like that, and I drop an address, so it's whatever, nigga. I don't like. He's a bitch ass nigga. That's on my mama. And that's all I gotta say. But
okay, appreciate it. I ain't gonna push. You know what I'm saying? At all. Okay, because Tommy, like I said, bro, like for once, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for. I'm left without a punchline. I don't know what to say. What? All right, Jay Boogie.
Motherfuckers do anything for a view, but
I guess I don't know why you do that though. I got 8 minutes left in this show. The rest we're gonna continue the conversation in the back. Jay
Can I respond real quick?
Oh, okay, go ahead, we inside.
Yeah, I want to respond.
Yeah, I got 8 minutes left, and then I gotta try to at least get one more person. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm gonna respond. Actually, his comments are quite normal. Most Africans and African immigrants think it's a privilege to be enslaved. I have Nigerians that told me that here in China, right? So that outlook is very common.
I think he's black though, dog. I think he's from Africa.
No, his parents are from Africa.
Oh, he's from Africa?
Exactly. Yeah, his parents. He was born here. He was born here.
Oh, okay, but his parents. Okay, gotcha. Oh, so that make a lot more sense. All right, gotcha.
So that's why I'm with Brian Jehovah when he says like ADOS and African immigrants are totally different. We look at things differently. We are totally different, and that mindset that he has is because I have to say this. You know, majority of Africa, like Trump said, are just shithole countries, with the exception of Rwanda and Kenya. So if I came from there, maybe I would say the same thing too. Right? Because they look at America and all the benefits because, you know, where they come from is shit. I mean, places don't even have addresses, bro. So, you know, I'm just going to give them grace on that. So it's okay. I understand you come from a shithole place. So therefore, when you look at us and you say, oh, we're victims, I get it, because where you come from, you ain't got shit. So
but you know what, we ain't signing? I don't know. I know you over there, so I don't know if you heard the story, but that's like, it's an African cat over here that was kind of spitting out that same kind of bullshit about black women. He had a couple of tweets about some black dudes.
Yeah.
And his white girlfriend stabbed his bitch ass, and he did. And now his family trying to cry to us like we supposed to give a fuck. And I'll sincerely say fuck him and his family.
Yeah, because I mean they're like that, bro. They're like that. Because even when I go to Kenya is a great place. Don't get me wrong. Now Kenya is a great country, but even they come over there with that bullshit, like, oh, you know, why you guys complain and stuff like that. Like, it's just how
we ain't signing it. Here go the coldest part. The bitch ain't get arrested.
Oh shit!
She went to a hospital for a couple of days.
They have her own video, bro. They got her own video with his blood all over her, and they catch this bitch at the bar a couple of days later.
Yeah, they sent her to a mental hospital and let her out a couple of days. She was there for a couple of days and let her out.
That's why, you know,
Right.
people can say what they want and have an opinion about Six the Goddess, but that is exactly why she asked him where his parents were from. And if you understand the ideology of that, you will know that that was not a disrespectful question
Yeah,
to
it's not.
ask,
And I want to say
taking it in the content.
all respect, because like Canadian born, that's my bro.
Yeah,
He's
that's
cool.
our guy. You know that.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not trying to throw shade on nobody from Africa, whatever, because
No,
I
but
do
we ain't
business
signing.
there.
He's even told us about those types.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
he
yeah,
told us
he
about
told us
those.
about, yeah.
So I'm just saying that's how they are. So it ain't true. That's how. And so you gotta just leave them alone, because they really believe that shit. They really believe that.
Yeah, but he really is a troll, and he
Wait.
really is a troll, and he really is disrespectful. He
No,
disrespected me. He disrespected me personally. So I'm going to personally say
OG, no. They believe that. They believe
no,
that.
I know that, but he
Right.
was born in America. I'm talking about that he personally disrespected me, and that's why I have no absolutely.
We ain't signing.
Exactly.
He's went as far as disrespecting Harriet Tubman, bro. Like he
is a whole,
like, this is what he do. It ain't just disbelief. It's
thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
He is a whole black white supremacist.
With 4 minutes left, let me jump in.
4 minutes left. Yeah, let's get Jay Boogie.
Wait, let me say something right quick. I just want to say that I think the biggest misconception that a lot of people have about our race is to think that just because we talk about these subjects, that we're sitting and we mulling in it and we're twiddling our thumbs and we're not getting out here and we're not doing anything. I'm a part of the ADOS movement. That is just what I do as a part of the nonprofit organization that I work for to get reparations. But I just started my own online business. My family is successful. I've been in the entertainment industry over 20 years. Nobody is sitting here twiddling their thumbs waiting on something. Like y'all need to quit it with that one. Like, people is still out here doing what they got to do. So I just want to say that.
Thank you.
I digress.
Jay Boogie. 3 minutes.
I know we only got 3 minutes, so I'm gonna say this. I think that it's very unfortunate because, you know, it's a time and a place for everything, and we have spent 7 to 10 minutes distracted by this brother knocking us off purpose. We were having a constructive conversation. This brother comes and says something salacious, and that knocks us off our square. And I think that's the whole purpose. It's always going to be a Negro that comes in and tries to break up shit when we're trying to get things done. We need to run this back another time. I think you did a great job with this today.
We can do that, because I got plenty of ammo when it comes to this. Like I said, my sister and I, she's right there. We grew up in Alabama. Yeah, we know.
Hey, Mandrell, I got a quick comment.
Go ahead.
I agree with what Jay Boog just said. We was having a very productive conversation.
Absolutely.
And Chaotic came in and derailed it, but he really didn't derail it, because he just showed us the personification of the Willie Lynch letter.
But B9, let me say this too. But he think he is a whole. I'm gonna tell y'all, he's a whole troll. You know why? Because he get on other panels and he act like he got some goddamn sense. But I'm gonna say why. I'm a moderator on Angela Stanton King's platform. He got up there on her platform and act like he had some goddamn sense. So he know what he's doing and where he do it and how he do it. Gotcha. I just wanted him to know that. Okay, I knew that.
Okay, thank you. This ain't about him. This is about, we just made ourselves aware of the tactics that are being used against us to bring our community down. And we just had a personification of said example come on the panel, and we're falling apart.
Facts.
Yeah, there's a brilliant
French ladies, but fuck that dude. Let's stay focused on getting ahead. Don't let nonsense bring us down.
Absolutely, B9.
Listen, we declare our rights on this earth to be a human being, to be respected as human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary, including getting rid of the trifling Negroes that aim to hold us back. Sometimes you got to eradicate the problem.
Let me do it. Let me do
Okay.
it.
Gotcha.
I appreciate you.
When it comes down to it, bring me up. When it comes down to it, we'll let Tommy B handle the wet work. Okay, how'd you feel about tonight's show? Are you happy here?
You know what? I just let you do you, because I know how you are passionate about this subject, and especially about religion. Yeah,
and Black issues as well. I'm very passionate about the advancement of Black people. Mm-hmm. And part of my frustration that people of the audience doesn't know about me is that they see me get heated, they see me get triggered, and the reason why I get triggered is because I want people to be better.
Yeah,
and people seem to not want to be.
Right.
Like some people come out and say something crazy, right? Say something completely ridiculous. I'm just like, why would you even let that come out your mouth? You have to know that was stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that comment there, I was like,
no, I think
he had to be playing a joke. He had to be
the
trolling.
fact that I never forget when you came back from the military, like you were like so angry. And you were just like, you've been lied to, Shamaria. You've been lied to. I was like, what are you talking about? It's all a lie. You've been lied to.
Here's the thing. I saw a lot of things.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I saw a lot of things. And when you see the truth, when you see it with your own eyes, you see how the back end of America works. You see how the sausage is made, so to speak. Mm-hmm. When you've been personally involved in making the sausage,
right?
Personally involved in sustaining maintaining Americans' way, the way of life of Americans.
Right.
You see how it's all been done. You're like, it is mind blowing, and some people's minds break.
Yeah.
Some people they can't handle it. They're like, it can't be true. It can't be true. Like, yeah, it's true. We're doing it right now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a hard pill to swallow. It really is. And it's things that I can't say on air.
Right.
And, but yeah, that's why, I'm like, no. Black people, y'all got to do better today.
Right.
Today. You really do need to do better now.
Yeah.
If you know what I know, then listen, it ain't gonna be pretty for you in about 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, go ahead. What's your final thoughts?
I was gonna say it's a what's called I guess it was not an analogy, but like I remember in a different world, what's called Dwayne Wayne used this little scenario for it was the one that what's some little kids on it was he was using an analogy on like how there's a cricket in a jar, and the jar had a lid on it, and the cricket wanted to be free, so he kept jumping up. You know what I mean? Just hoping that one day the lid wouldn't be there anymore. And so after so long, he stopped jumping because he was just like, he gave up hope. And like once the lid was taken off, he didn't even know the lid was off, and he had just given up. But he was free and he didn't know it. He was able to get out. He didn't know it.
And that's kind of
how a lot of us, for us, that's what it is, especially now. We have the tools we need really to be free the way we need to be, but I don't know, maybe we're just tired of jumping.
Gotcha. All right, everybody, you heard it here. Start jumping again.
Right.
All right, thanks for coming out this week. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I try to bring you quality content that's worthwhile. All right, and tune in next week. Gonna have another one for you. Later.